So every year during Jump Festa, Oda reveals something about the manga, and it typically is something that we should look forward to in the upcoming year, and this was dropped in this year's Jump Festa. As for the manga, at last we have reached Elbaph. Everything seems to be laid back in all this country, but the arrival of a certain man will break that calm. Meanwhile, we'll also see abnormal phenomena happening in other oceans. That man will finally begin to stir up the world. Enjoy the breather while you can, for you may not get a chance to catch your breath again. So there are two major, maybe even three major things that I want to analyze from this statement. The first including when Oda mentioned the arrival of a certain man. So who exactly is this individual that Oda was referring to? There's nothing that is confirming this, but I believe that the person that Oda was talking about in this initial statement is the leader of the Holy Knights, the Bizarro Shanks, or the B-Hanks. And this is because of different things that took place in chapters 1134 and 1135. We know that based on what Ripley stated, that Elbaph is no longer a kingdom of war. It's all about peace, all about trading with others, and you even see it with the Elbaph children, how they're raised. They're raised in the school based off of King Harald's request, or his final thing that he wanted to see realized, and how so many of these children that they're anti-violence, they're against war, they're against just seeing anyone be tortured, hit, any violence whatsoever. Hence why Colin, I don't necessarily want to say that he's an outcast, but people call him a delinquent because he's still one of the people that believes in trying to be strong, and I don't necessarily want to say violence, but at least having that Elbaph warrior pride. Currently the Straw Hats, some of them are still in the Owl Library, and the rest of them are celebrating because of Luffy's arrival, as well as him finally becoming an Emperor of the Sea. And this will be taking place for multiple days, as Saul and Shanks has stated. But while all this is happening, there are two individuals that arrive at the King's Castle, which is in the western portion of Elbaph. The first individual is a mysterious woman wrapped in bandages, and the other one is the Bizarro Shanks. Now, even though it is not confirmed, I am pretty much certain that this isn't Shanks because, well, number one, it would just be way too obvious and Oda wouldn't do something like that, and number two, the last time that we saw Shanks was him leaving Elbaph, and he's currently at Gartel, or at least he's leaving Gartel after he dealt with Bartolomeo. And because based off of how they arrived, which was through a summoning / transportation circle similar to how the Gorosei arrived at Egghead, because of this we believe that they're members of the Holy Knights because they have some connection to the Gorosei. We also believe that they're members of the Holy Knights because in chapter 1135 we got to look at, it's not their silhouettes, it's more so seeing them from behind because they have cloaks on. If you look closely at the individual who we believe to be Shanks's twin, he has a sword which looks similar to the silhouette of when Dragon was talking about the Holy Knights. What's their intention? What's their goal? And why are they here at Elbaph? Well, they want to see Loki, and I'm not entirely sure if they want to free him, if they want to set him free, what their intention with him is. And if I were a betting person, I'd say they probably want to kill him because based off of the time frame of whenever Shanks became an emperor, that was the same time that Loki was in prison. And so you could argue that this version of Shanks, or his evil twin, was the one that did it and Shanks got all the glory. And I made an in-depth video about that, so if you guys want to see it, I'll leave it in the description. I wonder who's going to fight this B-Hanks because I have no clue whether it's going to be Luffy or Zoro. I do think it'll be one of the two. Personally, I want it to be Zoro since the Holy Knights, he is what we believe to be the leader, and it appears that he is a swordsman. And Zoro, this entire arc, he's been itching to cut up on something, whether it's kids, whether it's animals, he don't discriminate. And I also personally want it to be him, because I think whenever we do finally get to meet up with Shanks, that Zoro and him will ever get to cross blades. So this is probably the closest that we'll get to it. But if you guys have made it this far into the video and you're enjoying the content, let me know by leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. I pump out different One Piece content almost each and every day. Now, talking about the abnormal phenomena that's happening in other oceans, I wonder if this means that we're going to be jumping around from Elbaph throughout the arc, similar to what happened during Egghead. In the past, we usually would get different updates about the world after the arc, even though they would sometimes happen simultaneously. However, during Egghead, there were different events that were happening where we cut away from Egghead. For example, the Hachinosu incident, Sabo returning with the revolutionaries and informing them what happened with the reverie. There was Shanks versus Kid, and lastly, Law versus Blackbeard. Since we're in the final saga, I wonder if that means that we'll continue this trend, experiencing everything that's going on in the world. Because I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty cool that that would get fleshed out, because I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it's pretty cool to see, especially that we don't have to wait. We can go ahead and see it happen in real time, and just experiencing everything with the world building. That's what One Piece is all about. Lastly, in Oda's message, he said that that man will finally stir up the world, and honestly, this could be anyone. I'll do a quick little list and give my reasons why I picked said person. Number 1, the man marked by flames. This is because Kid mentioned him at the end of Wano. He's got to have some importance to the story, right? Kid ended up at Elbaph for a reason, so we can assume that, well, he at least headed in the right direction to get to the man marked by flames. Next up, I wanted to say Emu, because Emu has the power to do whatever they want, whenever they want. And maybe because of Vegapunk informing the world about the danger of the ancient weapons and the rising of the oceans, that maybe Emu will feel more inclined to take immediate action. And the only point, I guess you could say, against this individual being Emu is that Oda said a certain man, and we don't know exactly what Emu is. Maybe it's Blackbeard, and he'll use Garp as a way to establish Hachinosu as a government affiliated country. Also, with Katarina Devon able to transform into Saturn after her appearance in Egghead, I wonder if Blackbeard will try to use her turning into Saturn and do something with that as well. Shanks or Dragon, I feel like we say this almost every year. I'll throw Shanks a little bit of bail, because we've seen him do a little bit more in the story, how he appeared at Wano, how he defeated Kid, and what he did with Bartolomeo at Cartel. But Dragon, that nigga, he ain't done shit. I feel like Dragon is the meme where you got the guy with the stick just poking something, just like telling him, hey, do something. It's like every year. I wonder if this will finally be the year that Dragon stops looking east and he actually decides to do something. I was reluctant to put Enel on this list because, well, I'm not the biggest fan of him, and I think that the community glazes him for losing and awaits his return. Personally, if he did or didn't return to the story, I wouldn't really care. It's almost as bad as how the community glazes Katakuri, but I like Katakuri, so I ain't gonna do too much on that one. Maybe Oda could be saving Enel for the final war, but also, well, maybe he's doing something here. Maybe it's Colin's father, who a lot of people are speculating could be Gabon because of the age. It would match what Ripley is saying, and also a lot of people believe that Gabon, he took refuge at Elbaph, or maybe Colin's father could be the individual who was walking at the end of chapter 1133, the person that said come on. It could also be Shiki as well. Eustace Kid, he's got to come back in the story somehow, and well, he got smoked at Elbaph, so why not him? The last person I want to bring up is Loki, and this is because the Holy Knights are here to potentially either free him or kill him, and if he's freed, then that will be the start of Ragnarok, which would allow him to bring the end of the world, as he stated in chapter 1130, and I did an in-depth video where I talked about Loki, the implications of Ragnarok, so if you guys want to see that, that'll be in the description as well. But I am really excited for One Piece in 2025, especially with Elbaph Elbaph. I can't wait to see everything that's going to go down. Let me know how excited you guys are for One Piece this upcoming year, as well as who do you think the individual that Oda was referring to. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. It's on the screen and in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.